BluMetric is mission-ready water. BluMetric provides a full range of environmental consulting services supported by bespoke engineering solutions for emergency, self-contained, and permanent water systems, and is always mission-ready with a full range of in-house support. There is no successful mission without water.
Welcome back to DefSec 2025. I'm Hannah DeGeer with BluMetric. Sitting in the booth today, I have Simon Hughes with Lockheed Martin. Simon, go ahead and introduce yourself and talk a little bit about how the show's going for Lockheed.
Thanks, Hannah. Hello, everybody out there in cyber world. Good show. I do business development for Lockheed Martin Canada. I also help Lockheed Martin US enter the Canadian space, depending on the opportunity at hand. I always love coming to DefSec. It's a great B2B show. More relaxed than some other shows, so you have a little more time and space for conversations, like doing something like this, for example. Always productive. I meet a lot of smaller companies that I'm not aware of while I'm here. Either I have a conversation with them or I refer them to our industrial development team, and then they have a deeper conversation with them.
Excellent, excellent. This is sort of the same mentality we have about this show at BluMetric as well.
Right.
You know, CanSec is big, huge. There's lots going on at that show in Canada, and then coming to DefSec's a little bit more relaxing. You get some of those people here that, you know, they don't want to go to CanSec, so you can have a little bit more intimate conversations, a little bit more relaxed. And I mean, we're in the wonderful city of Halifax.
Indeed.
It's my first time here. It's a beautiful city. Absolutely feeling grateful to be here. Why don't you tell me a little bit about Lockheed's strategic directions and where you guys are heading? Maybe some of the challenges that you're facing right now.
So there's lots going on in Canada in defense. You know, the government has made it very clear sort of where their priorities are at a strategic level. The geopolitical situation around the world, that strategic environment has changed drastically, not just in the last 2 years, but even in the last 6 months or so. So for Lockheed, that creates opportunity and it creates challenges at the same time. So in Canada specifically, there's several things that are really important to us as a company overall, and also really important to LM Canada from what we could do domestically from a sovereign point of view in Canada. Just so that, you know, anybody who's out there is watching knows, there's about 1,000 people in Lockheed Martin Canada. Lockheed Martin Canada is a Canadian company incorporated in Canada. You know, out of those 1,000 people, there's probably 100 veterans. I'm one of those 100. You know, we've been in Canada for a long time.
And where are you located? Where's headquarters in Canada? There's 5 locations.
There's 5 locations in Canada. The head office is kind of in Ottawa.
Okay.
Big facility in Canada. There's 2 here, Halifax, Dartmouth. A lot of the people out of that 1,000 are residing here on the East Coast. There's a footprint in Calgary. They do UAS, counter-UAS control systems for that. And then we have a smaller sort of maritime footprint on the West Coast in Victoria and in Esquimalt. And we have software developers in Montreal.
Okay.
So NORAD modernization, and then now integrated air missile defense.
Yes.
Very important to Lockheed. Lockheed has excellent pedigree in that space in other countries. Guam is a strategic U.S. facility there, has a sort of a Guam IMD defense, continental defense, think defense of the island.
Okay.
We're doing some good work in Australia with Lockheed Martin Australia. That program in Lockheed Martin Australia, for the Commonwealth of Australia, is very similar from a problem challenge space that Canada sees from integrated air missile defense, continental defense in Canada.
And are you guys associated with that Arctic over the horizon?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Lockheed Martin Australia has some components within that solution, but we are not the lead for that overall surveillance system that comes out. So NORAD modernization, there's lots of pieces of that. Integrated air missile defense is that whole system of systems integration, mission system integration, and the whole command and control piece. And that is a core function of Lockheed Martin business overall.
Okay.
And it's also core capability that resides within Lockheed Martin Canada.
Okay.
So that's big.
That's big.
Inside that, there are lots of other things. There's lots of sensors that Lockheed will have an interest in. And then there's ground-based air defense.
Okay.
So we have leaned into ground-based air defense actually with a sovereign Canadian C2 solution space.
Okay.
Not something from somewhere else, not even something from out of our LM US offices. It's something that exists here and resides here in Canada. And then we're partnering with somebody else who's also non-US. So we're providing a different solution space for that, something we think is quite appealing to Canada. and ready to go.
Yes.
Right from the start.
Yes.
Beyond ground-based air defense, all the great work we do with the Navy, which they've been a great partner to us. They're a great facilitator of positive messaging from what LM Canada's done with the Navy. That continues.
Good.
We're really grateful for everything we've done with the RCN, and that's 30 plus years now, and that includes training.
Okay.
So we are a training systems company in Canada.
Yep.
And that goes across the Navy as well. Then you got to get into things like, the submarine program.
Yeah.
So
where does Lockheed fit into that?
Yeah, so that's going to depend for the new submarine on how the government goes forward with the procurement, right? We know who's down selected.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
We know they'll pick one.
Yep.
Obviously, we believe they'll pick one. There was some discussion about two, but we think they'll pick one.
Yep.
How they proceed with the military off-the-shelf equation affects, in theory, any Canadian content or
Absolutely.
other content that's different from the submarine. So that's a little bit of an unknown towards us. We have had good conversations with both TKMS and Hanwha Ocean, both really good companies. They're keeping an open mind, but they're not sure how to proceed with some things because Canada hasn't necessarily signaled how they want to go.
Exactly.
The sustainment piece, though, for everybody in Canada in the defense industry and the marine industry is important because Canada's made it clear they will sustain the submarines in Canada.
Absolutely.
We do have sustainment capability for the existing submarines in Canada for over 30 years. So that's something that we could parlay into the new submarine.
Yep.
Fitted equipment on board, that's the big question mark right now.
Exactly.
So Lockheed itself is not sure. We have great fitted combat systems in the current submarine fleet.
Okay.
Does Canada want to port those into the new submarines right away or after?
What is that going to look like? What are the capabilities that we need to put into those new subs?
Yes.
And who's going to get it? And who's going to be working with who? And what partnerships exist?
Yeah.
And the whole procurement landscape for that, I think, is definitely challenging for all of us. But there's also a lot of opportunities within Canada and small to medium-sized businesses as well. Who are, it's a long sales cycle, but they're sort of already commercializing these products to sustain themselves and to keep their employees employed before the sub program comes on board and they start giving the SMEs some of that business from the primes.
And all those things I've talked about there have a nexus with small medium business in different ways and different quantities. Like when you look at the whole NORAD modernization, continental defense, volume space, all the things that you need in that system of systems, there's a fair opportunity in there for Canadian industry. There's a fair opportunity in there for small, medium businesses. When you talk infrastructure in the Arctic,
absolutely,
there's no reason that can't really be fundamentally all Canadian companies.
Absolutely.
Minus perhaps a sensor that we don't have in Canada. We can't produce it in Canada anyway,
correct,
so we're going to get that from somewhere else.
Right.
But there is great opportunity there. I always say to small, medium businesses, because I get asked this question a lot, Lockheed is its own marketplace.
Yep.
So what Lockheed wants to do is we want you to register, go online, register, become a supplier. It's not hard. Put in your basic information. Because our sourcing team, when they go looking for something, the first place they go is the database.
Exactly.
You select Canada, otherwise they won't see you.
Yep.
And it goes from there.
Yep.
But we want to partner with a supplier on a program. But what we really want to do is say, can we use that Canadian supplier in other LM programs in Canada, in the US, or broader, so that Lockheed is its own marketplace.
Absolutely.
And we'll derive more value from that, using that supplier in multiple programs, and so will the supplier.
And you'll support continued operations and employment for those SMEs.
Yeah,
so that's excellent. I know there's a number of firms on the show floor, Innov Marine in particular, that is sort of has a matchmaking ITB sort of application where you can go on. I think it's in its beta testing phase, but you can sort of go on as an SME or a prime, enter your information, and it kind of matchmakes you with certain companies and stuff like that. So that helps cut some time and navigation for who to partner with who and how and whatnot. So really cool innovations coming out. Thank you so much, Simon, for giving us a little bit of...
Can I say two more things?
Sure.
So Continental Defense Corvette, which is an interesting concept that the Navy's putting out there. As the Admiral said last week in Calgary at the Sea Power Symposium, we don't have policy or budget for this, but it's a great idea. Will it come? I think so. That, and I agree with the Admiral on this, designed, built in Canada, fitted out in Canada with Canadian suppliers, Canadian equipment. I think everybody should keep their eye on that space and lean into how can you as a Canadian company find something that you can provide to that, give the Navy the options in Canada, the options to really do it all in Canada if it's at all possible. There's still a couple of things that won't because they just don't exist. But that is something that I think as defense industry in Canada moves forward, hopefully Canada from a procurement point of view will say we want to do more of this.
Yes.
Right.
You heard it right from Simon. Made in Canada, produced in Canada, supplied in Canada, sustained in Canada.
Remember, Simon says.
Simon says. And with that, we'll sign off. Thank you
Thanks
very much.
Hannah.
Enjoy the rest of your show,
Thank
Simon.
you very much.
Thank you.
BluMetric is mission-ready water. BluMetric provides a full range of environmental consulting services supported by bespoke engineering solutions for emergency, self-contained, and permanent water systems, and is always mission-ready with a full range of in-house support. There is no successful mission without water.